What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing. I just finished up watching Canelo Alvarez versus John Ryder, and this was a 12-rounder for the undisputed WBC, WBA, WBO, and IBF Super Middleweight World Championship. And this fight was Saturday, May 6th from El Estadio Akron in Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. And this fight was broadcasted on DAZN pay-per-view. And in this fight, Canelo Alvarez was able to get a unanimous decision victory over John Ryder. So I personally scored this bout 118 to 109 in favor of Canelo Alvarez. The three judges scored this bout 118, 109 twice, and 120 to 107 once. So let me just say this first. I definitely don't think it was 120, 107. So I had a 118, 109. I think it could have been definitely closer. I think it could have even been 116, 111, 117, 110. Stuff along those lines. Anywhere from 10 rounds to 2 to 8 rounds to 4, I could definitely see in Canelo Alvarez's favor. So just to break this fight down round by round. John Ryder, let me just say this first. John Ryder is actually a really solid fighter. He was giving Canelo a tough time towards the end of the fight, making it very, very competitive in the last couple rounds. Earlier on, he was actually landing some nice shots on Canelo, but Canelo is just doing much more work overall. Let me talk about the first 3 rounds. They were actually not really that. There wasn't really much going on, especially in the first two. I think either of them could have actually gone possibly to John Ryder. Not really much was happening, aside from maybe a right hand in the first round. In the second round, I definitely think maybe John Ryder could have got the round in the second. But the first round, Ryder was doing decent. Throughout the fight, like I said before, he was doing decent. Was going forward on Canelo a bit, digging upstairs with some nice shots, left hands, trying to go to the body. He was doing a decent job. But in round one, Ryder was doing nice, trying to press Canelo against the rope, so you could have definitely given him that round. The second round, I thought it was also somewhat competitive. But round three, John Ryder got a cut open, or he was cut open on sort of his nose. His nose started bleeding. I don't know if exactly there was a cut in his mouth or his nose, but his mouth and nose area was bleeding bad during the entire fight after that punch in the third round. So that was a big moment for Canelo there. Really from rounds 4 and 5, those were rounds where Canelo was just simply the better fighter, was landing the better shots. But in that fifth round, Canelo Alvarez did land a big 1-2 that backed up and dropped John Ryder into the ropes. It was a perfectly placed shot from Canelo, and it was a 10-8 round. But then rounds 6, 7, and 8, it wasn't like Canelo was absolutely dominating Ryder, just beating the crap out of him or something like that. He was just landing the better shots. Ryder, like I said before, he landed some nice short uppercuts of his own, landed some nice hooks of his own, but I just thought Canelo, his shots were more impactful. I thought he was dictating the pace of the fight, so I gave him those rounds. But then the ninth round and on is where it started to actually get somewhat competitive. The ninth round, I just edged to Canelo Alvarez. I gave it to him, but rounds 10 and 11, I actually gave to John Ryder. Ryder was able to land some nice shots on Canelo. Canelo looked like he was slowing down a bit, and John Ryder landed some decent shots coming forward, throwing some nice combinations, so I gave him those rounds respectfully. And then round 12, I thought it was actually a pretty competitive round. I thought Canelo just edged it, but those last couple rounds, I thought John Ryder put a good showing of himself in and made it a decent fight in the end, despite not really being the most exciting in the other rounds. But after this win, what is next for Canelo Alvarez? He's the undisputed world champion. He had that tough loss to Dimitri Bivol about a year ago, so they also talked about, for Canelo Alvarez, what could be next for him, just to shout out a few names. We could definitely see that rematch with Dimitri Bivol, where he will move up to light heavyweight, just like he did a year ago and did lose. But that's definitely one of the biggest options next for Canelo. Or we could possibly see a clash between Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga, because Eddie Hearn himself even talked about that when he announced Berlanga to be fighting Jason Quigley on the I believe it's the. Geez, I want to say the right show. I'm pretty sure it's the Katie Taylor card in about a month. I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure that's the card that Quigley and Berlanga are fighting on. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of crazy, but Edgar Berlanga could be fighting Canelo in the next coming months. But I mean, if Canelo is going to fight in between that, which I mean, I highly doubt it. I don't think he'll fight a Dimitri Bivol. Like a Bivol fight would be maybe after he fights Berlanga. Maybe he could fight Berlanga, knock him out easily, and then fight Dimitri Bivol and see if he could get that revenge. But those are the two big names I think that he's going to fight next. But as for John Ryder, this is his sixth defeat. I mean, he put up a good showing of himself, fought hard, showed a lot of heart, didn't really fight that bad, fought much better than the other British counterparts in the past few years. I mean, Billy Joe Saunders quit, Callum Smith got battered. He actually stood there, got it from a knockdown. He could have quit. I thought he was going to quit after getting dropped in that fifth round, but he didn't. He kept going on. So all props to him. But I think he's going to go back to the UK, get put on a decent level DAZN card, maybe against a top 15, top 10 name in the super middleweight division. But I think he's going to be continuing on fighting on these big DAZN cards. But rather than in the United States, it'll be, or in the, should I say, in the United States, Mexico area, North America, I'd rather be in the UK, like when he fought Daniel Jacobs and all of his other fights he's had recently. So overall, Canelo Alvarez retains his undisputed world championship, defeating John Ryder by a clear unanimous decision. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.